This is Jamey with Stonemeyer Games, and today I'm going to talk about my favorite game mechanism in Mythos Tales. This is a Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective style game, Mythos Tales is, and by that I mean that it's a cooperative game for really any number of players. You are given some materials to solve a mystery. You're given like a newspaper, you're given a map of London, or in Mythos Tales, of I think it's Arkham. Um, and in both games, there's a thick book of stories. It's kind of like a choose your own adventure thing, where you just decide as a group, okay, we have this mystery, we know a little bit of information, let's go to the scene of the crime. And you look up the scene of the crime on the map, and then you look for that same entry in the book, and you figure out what that means for solving this particular mystery. And whenever you're ready, you say, okay, I think we know all the information we have, and you look at the back of that mystery, and it has a bunch of questions. You answer those questions, and depending on how well you answer them, you score some points. The games are very, very similar, with the main distinction being that Mythos Tales deals with some supernatural stuff, a lot of supernatural stuff, whereas Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective does not. It's more, solving Sherlock Holmes style real life mysteries. Now, the one well, I guess the one key distinction between the two games that I really like, and there are a few little things that Mythos Tales changed to distinguish itself from Sherlock Holmes, but the main thing it does is it adds a time track. And so whenever you take a turn, basically, you move up on this time track, and at the beginning of the mystery, the mystery kind of says, okay, you have this amount of time to solve the mystery, but if you solve it faster, that's good as well. And I think this is a very subtle thing, because you could completely ignore that time track if you want. You could go to every location on the map if you want. There's nothing stopping you from doing that, and if you have a good time playing it that way, absolutely, you can play that way. But the thing I really like about it is that it adds it's just a little reminder and a little pressure to keep things moving along. Because what I found in this type of game, and I really love this type of game, it's really fun to just have an open environment to solve a mystery with your friends, without having to deal with a bunch of little fiddly mechanisms. It's very, very streamlined and very open in the way that it's streamlined. But what that openness can do is it can lead to lengthy discussions where no progress is made, where you just sit around for 10-20 minutes talking about what you know and where you should go without actually doing anything. And that time track, even though it doesn't directly solve that problem, you can still sit around forever and talk about what to do next. It just adds a little bit of pressure to push you in the direction of what you should do next. We haven't taken it to this extreme yet, but I have considered even adding a timer to that discussion phase of the game, so that you do feel a little bit of time pressure to keep things moving along. But with Mythos Tales, I didn't really feel that was necessary, because the time track just already gave us that little bit of pressure to keep things moving along. And so that's my favorite mechanism in the game. I thought that was a clever addition to what is already a very clever game. I'd love to hear your thoughts on what your favorite game mechanism is in either Mythos Tales or Sherlock Holmes. You could even bring in Arabian Nights if you want, because it has kind of a similar style of play. Barely. It's not a cooperative game. You're just following this storybook. But yeah, I'd love to hear your thoughts on that, or your thoughts on games that really encourage you to move along, and keep the game moving forward. And actually, one that came to mind real quick before I go is someone mentioned to me recently that there is an RPG called 10 Candles, where at the beginning of the game you light 10 real candles. I'm guessing they're various lengths, and when a candle burns out, a big important thing happens in the game. And so you have to, I actually don't know many details beyond that, but just the core concept that he shared with me there just sounds awesome, that you have this actual burning candle off to the side as you're playing this game, where it's not like a ticking clock, but you know that at some point some of those candles are going to start to burn out, and that adds a really interesting pressure to the game. I really, really like that. So I'd love to hear your thoughts about timers in games as well. Thanks.